Hey neighbor, what's up?
Hey man, Karen's complaining about the noise. I'm gonna need you to turn down the music a little bit. Oh, Shaq! Is that the new Radio Shack self-powered wireless speaker system? That subwoofer looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And is that the 4-channel mixer with the built-in SD card reader?
Yeah, it's pretty...
Oh my, Shaq! You got the battery-operated 12-inch PA speaker as well?
Well, Radio Shack is my go-to place for all my DJ and audio gear, with the best prices in town.
Awesome! And is that a Bluetooth... Wait, DJ Kenny, are you having a party? How come we weren't invited?
Visit Radio Shack today for all your audio needs.
That workout was intense. Let's grab some water.
No prob. I'll go get it. Here you go, Jess.
Think you said you were going to get water.
So, what's this?
I need a water that is just as good as that workout.
Okay.
I only drink Oasis water because it's the most trusted brand and the only locally produced water that is internationally certified.
Wait, a big thing's that?
Yeah, it's the only water that tests in their own lab at Dunbar's and sent to Canada for further testing.
So you would tell me Oasis have a Canadian visa and me not have none yet?
All I'm saying, trust the brand. It's so good, it's asked for by name.
So, what am I to do with this water, yeah?
Well, you can go home and throw them in your iron.
Oasis Water, a product of the Antigua Distillery and distributed island-wide by Premier Beverages.
Subway for you, Subway for me.
Subway, Reckless Street is open for delivery and curbside pickup orders only. So go to the Quick Serve website or download the app for delivery orders. Or call us at 562-5539 or 562-5639 to place your orders for curbside pickup. At Subway, we are here for you.
Subway for you, Subway for me.
Welcome back, guys. Of course, you know, it's all about the Mass Breathers Morning Show. We have the man GQ in the building. GQ, what are you cooking up for us today? Okay. I can't hear your microphone now for some reason. I'm not sure why that is. Can you hear me? I'm not hearing you, though. I don't know why that. And I was hearing you just a while ago. I don't know. Technology is just trying to be a bother today for whatever reason. But I'm not hearing you. Your microphone is not muted, so I think it's something within probably your Bluetooth and the phone. I'm not sure, but I can guess. I can speculate that may be the case. But I'm not hearing you at all. Okay, your mic is muted now. Let's see if you get it again. Can you hear me? Okay, I just kind of heard something a while ago. Maybe I know you can probably put your phone on speaker and see if you go bypass the Bluetooth. I think that's where the issue is happening. Let's see if we can do that and see if that works. All right, folks, of course, you know it's all about the Mass Breathers Morning Show. I can hear you now.
You can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Guys, if you're watching, please share the live. We would appreciate that. So what are we doing today? What are you doing for us today?
Well, Tuesday last week, I gave you all a well-known old-fashioned rum punch. But this week, I'm going to try to take it back. You know what I mean? I created this cocktail from scratch. You can't go anywhere in the world and get this cocktail. Kennedy, I'm telling you, you cannot get this cocktail anywhere else.
I see some very interesting ingredients on your table, so I'm looking to see where this goes.
So this cocktail is actually called the Wadadli Island. Being Wadadli, you know, Wadadli's on the Antigua. So all the ingredients is basically from Antigua, aka Wadadli. Obviously, you get your English Harbor 5-year-old. Of course, you got local limes. Then you have pineapple. The best thing to do is go all freshly squeezed. So freshly squeezed lime juice, freshly squeezed pineapple, and of course, last ingredient, our Wadadli beer as well. Yes,
Okay.
LED. This cocktail has a beer.
This is interesting. We're gonna see where this one goes.
So it's very easy. It's not too complicated, you know. Since you can make it at home, you can get it at the bar. Ladies, if you go to any bar and you ask them to make a Wadadli Island, once you know the ingredients, you can make it anywhere in the world. So, first of all, it's either a rocks drink, a bill drink, or you can put it in a martini glass if the ladies want to get sophisticated. So
Okay.
you can have two drinks. Which glassware? So first, it's a shaken drink. Last week, I know I built the drink with the old-fashioned rum punch, but this week I'm gonna do a little shaking for you guys. So first, we're gonna put in the rum, which is about 2 shots. So 2 shots of 5. Then 1 shot of lime juice. And then shot of pineapple juice. Then 1.5 shot of Wadadli beer. Maybe you cannot put too much of it here.
I like where
It's
this
gonna-
is going.
You can't put in too much of the Wadadli beer because it's going to foam up on you. Any sparkling is going to foam out on you, so not too much.
Okay.
Just ice it up. I was chilling the glass, so I had some ice in there.
Right, right.
Then you just strain it. Then you do a little garnish. And there you go, Kenny.
And as they say, voila. All right, so this is called, give us the name of this cocktail again.
It's called a Wadadli Island.
Wadadli Island. All right, all right, all right.
Very
You're
smooth.
currently, you're in Barbuda right now, right?
No, I'm actually in 268.
Okay.
Right in your back.
One of these days, we got to link up so I can actually get to taste some of these drinks in the same space where you are. You know what I'm saying? We can work it out. You know, we have everything with our social distancing that we were trying to adhere to and so on, but we're going to work it out. But how can people get in contact with you if they have events they want, you know, a mixologist? What's your contact information?
My contact information, you can reach me on WhatsApp or by calling me on 734-5725, or you can hit me up on Instagram, C on GQ, or Facebook, which is the same C on GQ, or you can email me direct at cionatil@gmail.com.
All right. Well, Sian, it's always a pleasure, you know, having you on the show, getting to experience it. And you said you made this is your brainchild.
This is my creation. I actually took this creation to New York back in 2017 in the capital, and it won many prizes. Everybody, the whole of Manhattan was crazy about it.
All right.
It's crazy.
Well, people, if you want more cocktails like this, contact the man, and contact GQ. Let him set you up. If you have an event, you need somebody to make a cocktail list. You're opening a restaurant, you need somebody to make a cocktail list. You want somebody to take care of your whole bar. This is the man to holler at right here. GQ, pick up yourself as always. You know, stay safe on these times. Enjoy that drink. Save a glass so you can come and free.
Whenever you're ready, bro.
All right, respect. Hey, that was a man named GQ. Guys, we're gonna go take a break. Yeah, you see my hands. I cut my hands. I'll tell you about this in a bit. We're gonna go take a commercial break. Stay tuned in. It's the Mass Breathers Morning Show.
Hey neighbor, what's up?
Hey man, Karen's complaining about the noise. I'm gonna need you to turn down the music a little bit. Oh, Shaq! Is that the new Radio Shack self-powered wireless speaker system? That subwoofer looks beautiful.
Yeah.
And is that the 4-channel mixer with the built-in SD card reader?
Yeah, it's pretty...
Oh my, Shaq! You got the battery-operated 12-inch PA speaker as well?
Well, Radio Shack is my go-to place for all my DJ and audio gear, with the best prices in town.
Awesome! And is that a Bluetooth... Wait, DJ Kenny, are you having a party? How come we weren't invited?
Visit Radio Shack today for all your audio needs.
That workout was intense. Let's grab some water.
No prob. I'll go get it. Here you go, Jess.
Think you said you were going to get water.
So, what's this?
I need a water that is just as good as that workout.
Okay.
I only drink Oasis water because it's the most trusted brand and the only locally produced water that is internationally certified.
Wait, a big thing's that?
Yeah, it's the only water that tests in their own lab at Dunbar's and sent to Canada for further testing.
So you would tell me Oasis have a Canadian visa and me not have none yet?
All I'm saying, trust the brand. It's so good, it's asked for by name.
So, what am I to do with this water, yeah?
Well, you can go home and throw them in your iron.
Oasis Water, a product of the Antigua Distillery and distributed island-wide by Premier Beverages.
Subway. Reckless Street is open for delivery and curbside pickup orders only. So go to the Quick Serve website or download the app for delivery orders. Or call us at 562-5539 or 562-5639 to place your orders for curbside pickup at Subway. We are here for you.
Definitely welcome back to the Mass Breathers Morning Show. Yours truly, Kenny D, here in your company. Now, I want everybody to share this live right now because we're gonna look at something here, something that happened right here in Antigua and Barbuda. Something that happened right here in Antigua and Barbuda, recently, and I want us to talk about it somewhat. So, I want you to share this live. Get on and start sharing it. I'm gonna give you. This has to do with the Honorable Jamal Pringle and something that happened in Parliament. Okay, so share the live. Let's get this going. I want to talk about this somewhat. I'm going to play the clip of what happened, and I want to open up a discussion about it. Not very long, a very short discussion about it, and get your thoughts as to what you thought about what happened here. So share this live. Let's get this going. Let's watch a bit of it, and then
Leader of the opposition. Mr. Speaker, I rise to make my contribution on this motion. But before I do so, Mr. Speaker, I must express my displeasure in terms of how you have been conducting your rule in this honorable house. Because I realize that once something is being said that you're not in agreement with, you shut down a member, especially when you see that the person going against the government. And Mr. Speaker, if we're to do the people's business that they elect us to do, you must sit and rule over this honorable house without fear or favor. Leader of the opposition. And I must say, Leader of the opposition, you are on thin ice. Mr. Speaker, I stand on the ground that the people of Antigua and Barbuda elected me on. Leader of the opposition. Tell me about the thin ice. Leader of the opposition. So crack the ice, Mr. Speaker, if that is what you want to do. Leader of the opposition. If you do not refrain from attacking the Speaker, you will leave this place. And if you proceed further, I will call on the House inside to be out for the day or so be very careful. This is not a political hoo-ha. Mr. Speaker, I maintain my grounds and you can do whatever you choose to do, but I'm elected by the people and I'm here to do the people's business. You Mr. Speaker, I stand my ground. I'm stating what the people are asking me questions to, and I think that is right in this honorable house for me to put to the people exactly what the situation is. And if you want to, as the speaker, use your judgment, and you can so do.
Leader of the opposition, you will apologize for the attack. Chair? No. You are in breach of so many of the standing orders, I don't even want to read them. You have attacked not only the member, but you have attacked the house, and you will apologize immediately. Or you can plug your leave.
Okay, what it is that you are thinking here? We are all elected equally. We are all elected equally.
Okay, all right, hold on. I don't know what this thing is popping up here on my screen here is. All right, so let's take a look at this here now, guys. Let's now here's my thing. Now, obviously something would have, and I didn't watch Parliament. You know, I got this story after it came out, in a sense. I didn't watch Parliament. But obviously something would have transpired prior to this. But I've watched Parliament many times, and I've seen representatives get aggressive, in a sense, with other representatives. I've seen, you know, persons get, you know, sort of roughed up by some verbal comments and so on, and they don't get this sort of scrutiny from the Speaker of the House. Okay? So let's just find a common place in all of this. Now, Mr. Pringle stood up, and he basically was basically stating that he doesn't like the way in which the Speaker deals with persons who oppose the government. Is that considered an attack? Or should we consider that an attack? Are you not allowed to express any concerns you have with things that you don't think are right? I don't think he was disrespectful. I'm not giving you my opinion, right? I don't think he was disrespectful. I just think that, you know, he had a grievance and he wanted to speak about it. Now, the initial response, and again, I don't know what led or transpired prior to that. I don't know if there was something that happened before, because, you know, the Speaker of the House did say he attacked another member, which would probably have happened prior. I don't know. I didn't watch Parliament in its entirety. I'm just taking it from this clip. And again, I'm not the type of person that's going to sit down and try to give or look at just a little bit of something and then give give blame. It's not even a blame thing either. That's not even the right word to use. So let's run it a little bit again from the top and see where he starts off. Mr. Pringle stands up. He's called upon by the Speaker of the House, so he has the floor, and this is what he starts off with.
I rise to make my contribution on this motion.
So again, I don't know what happened prior to that. Okay, I don't know if there was a situation prior to that, but let's continue.
But before I do so, Mr. Speaker, I must express my displeasure in terms of how you have been conducting your rule in this honorable house.
Okay, so, and there's a lot of things I can equate this to, right? And this is a lot of the times what I don't like about persons who are put in places of power, who hide behind those places of power, right? So here's the thing. I kind of feel the same way how the situation was handled, in a lot of ways how some police officers handle certain situations. And I'll tell you what I mean when I say that. Now, you are a person in power, held in some power over somebody else for whatever the reason. And because of that position of power that affords you certain things, you get to make certain judgments and certain things. You use that power to do or say whatever, right? And if somebody even complains about that, then the thing that they do, or persons like that do, that really irritates me, is they would then hide behind the position. So it's almost like they're saying the position allows them to disrespect you. But if you respond to them in the same manner that they talk to you, then they make it seem like you're disrespecting the position. When in actuality, you're just speaking directly. You're just returning the energy that they're giving you, right? Now, I'll give you an example of what I mean. I showed a clip a couple of days ago about a police officer who punched the guy like 20 times because of some situation that were happening. Now, the guy was walking on the sidewalk. Maybe he was in an abandoned complex. Maybe it's a shortcut that he took to get through there. I don't know. But he wasn't really causing any issue. So he was walking through there, and maybe the police said, yeah, you can't do that. Go watch your business, go on. Right? Maybe that made him mad or upset. Maybe he was walking through there all his life. You never know. So he's walking, and the police are following him. They're following him while he's walking. So he stands up and says, like, you know, pretty much he said, and this is not verbatim, but he's like, you know, what you guys want to do? The officer, probably because he wants to exert some level of power or whatever the situation may be, goes to arrest him. All right? Now, he goes to arrest. Remember, this guy's not posing any imminent threat. He is not hurting anybody. He's just walking, right? He's walking up the road. Officer goes to try to arrest him now, and the officer wants to do so in a manner that's aggressive. So there's a little shuffle. And he says, you know, you're not going to do that. If you're going to ask me to put my hands on my back, I'm put my hands on my back. You're not going to rough me up. And you see, that is the problem that I have with some people in power. They use their position of power to victimize people and then hide behind the position. And I'm going to get to the point of what I mean when I'm finished. So basically, now the officer roughs him up. The guy says, hey, you're not going to rough me up. Get off me. You know, maybe he feels embarrassed by that. Maybe he feels belittled by that the guy is not going to quiver under what he says, because that's what some people do. They think that because they have a certain amount of power, you're supposed to quiver on it. You're supposed to like, yes, sir, no, sir. You're not supposed to go back at them with any aggression, even if they're coming at you with aggression. So the guy now places his hand behind his back. Officer is trying to handcuff him and immediately starts punching him. He gets about, 10 punches in. And, I'm like, what is even the point? Right? So he immediately starts punching him, gets all aggressive. And remember, the guy handcuffs behind his hand. The guy poses no threat. The guy doesn't hit back. The guy just crouches, takes all the legs and like, why are you doing this? Another officer is there with him, and she does nothing she really does nothing to stop what is happening there. And I see that sort of thing with a lot of persons in power. Now, Mr. Pringle got up, and again, I don't know what transpired before that. I'm just going to be speaking on what I've seen happen here. Mr. Pringle got up and said, and in a very respectful way, in a very respectful way. He wasn't disrespectful. He wasn't, overly aggressive. He got up and he said, before I start, I want to express my displeasure in the way that you're dealing with the House. And then the Speaker of the House responds, you're on thin ice. So here's my question. How does one, if that is not the right way to express your displeasure with something, then what is the right way to express your displeasure with something? If you can't do it in that manner, I'm gonna pull it back up and you can we can watch it If that is not the way to express your displeasure, then what is the right?
Speaker,
How do you express any displeasure? So listen again.
I rise to make my contribution on this motion. But before I do so, Mr. Speaker, I must express my displeasure in terms of how you have been conducting your rule in this honorable house. Because I realize that once something is being said that you're not in agreement with, you shut down a member, especially when you see that the person going against the government.
And you know what's so funny? Exactly what Mr. Pringle just said there is exactly what the Speaker of the House did. He just said he realized that once you don't agree with something a member says, you shut down that member. Let's go back and get a little bit of more of what it is. Let's play it here again. Listen.
That you're not in agreement with, you shut down a member, especially when you see that the person going against the.
So he just said that once you're not in agreement with something a member says, he shuts down the member. And exactly what he said, the Speaker does. The Speaker did in that situation. Exactly the same thing. Exactly the same thing. You know? No, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, I don't think that Mr. Pringle was being disrespectful. A lot of times when you're held under certain positions where you can't express yourself freely, and you use whatever resort, the last resort, if you want to call it that, to get something off your chest. People normally say that you're disrespectful, but they never look at what would have led you to that point. You know, the FBI used to investigate Martin Luther King, a guy whose objective was peaceful protesting, and he was assassinated. So my question is, how do you then complain? If this is not the right way to complain, how do you complain? So let's look at what happens after this.
Government. And Mr. Speaker, if we're to do the people's business that they elect us to do, you must sit and rule over this honorable house without fear or favor.
Leader of the opposition.
Okay, so let's pause here for one more second. So Mr. Pringle is absolutely correct with the fact that he's elected by the people. You know, it's almost like, I don't know how many of you guys out there watch sports or watch basketball. You go and watch a basketball game, and this is what I almost draw it to. You go and watch a basketball game, and the referee makes the game all about him because he holds a certain level of power over the players, right? But nobody comes to the game to watch the referee. The referee's function is to just be the adjudicator. The referee's function is just to ensure that the game runs the way it's supposed to run and should have no other involvement on the outcome of the game. And this is almost the same situation, right? It's weird because, okay, you're elected by the people. You are an elected member. You won your seat, and somebody who wasn't elected holds a position where they're supposed to allow fairness for everybody to get their points across, and they're not doing that, right? Ideally, and you express your displeasure in that, you know, and you didn't chastise. So Mr. Pringle basically gets up and he says, you know, I want to express my displeasure as to the way I think you're running the house. You're supposed to run this house without fear or favor, and blah, blah, blah. It's not being disrespectful, in my opinion. Again, in my opinion, to me, it's not being disrespectful. And the Speaker of the House returns with this.
And I must say,
Leader of the opposition, you're on thin ice.
Okay, so his response to that statement is, Leader of the Opposition, you're on thin ice. Leader of the Opposition, you're on thin ice. So he's already expressing his displeasure by what? And again, even if you don't agree with it, right? Even if you don't agree with it, you don't agree with the grounds as to what's happening here, you know, you don't agree with it. Is that the approach that should be taken? And mind you, people, don't misinterpret me, right? I think that this happens on both sides of the fence. When another party is in, because they elect the persons who fill these positions, and they're just going to be extensions of those parties. They're going to be more lenient to the party that puts them there, and less lenient to the party that doesn't put them there. So I think this happens on both sides of the political divide. Okay? But is that really the response you should take there? I mean, you're clearly showing a bias there. I would think if a smart person, if a person is accusing them of a certain bias, what they should do in response to that accusation is not show the bias. That's the only way you refute that. So, I don't know how things should be handled. But if, let's say, I was the Speaker of the House, and somebody says you're being unfair, and you this and that and so on, and I want to stop it from happening. All right, guys, I do apologize for that. I don't know, man. Something is just wrong with my internet, it seems like. So back to what I was saying here now, and I hope you guys can still hear me. So let me backtrack a bit. So basically, I would think in a more sensible situation, what he should have done is listen to what Mr. Pringle said and said, Mr. Pringle, all right, I hear your concerns. I will address your concerns. Let's have a sit down and see what we can do to work together to ease your concerns. Right? That's what I would hope that's what I would do. I'm not a very smart man, you know. I'm not the smartest person out there. But this may sound funny. in customer service. When you do customer, because I've done customer service for a while, and a lot of things you can relate to in life, like customer service. If you want to alleviate or take away somebody power, if you think somebody's going at you, right, and you want to control the situation, you agree with them. You believe what they're saying, you listen, you apologize, you offer to solve, and then you thank them. Crisis averted, right? Mr. Pringle came up and said, blah, 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 so on and so forth. I don't like the way you did it. Say, all right, Mr. Pringle, I do believe you may have these issues, and I want us to work along with resolving them. I apologize if anything that I've done in the house has made you feel wrong. Let's sit down at some point in time and address those concerns and solve them. But go ahead making your presentation. If that was the approach taken, then this situation would not have been an issue. Mr. Pringle would look stupid if he went on to try to chastise more, if that was the response given. But the response given in this situation is, Mr. Pringle, you're on thin ice. That is only going to heighten things. That is only going to accelerate any issues that is there. You know, a person is coming to you calmly, because Mr. Pringle is calm in this situation. He's relatively calm. He's expressing his displeasure with how the house is run, and so on and so forth. Calmly. If, again, at the onset of that, the response was, I do believe that you have these concerns, although I may not be aware that I'm behaving in this manner, I want you to be able to be comfortable in this house and do the people's duty. Let us set a time where we can speak on this matter and have it resolved. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. Continue with your presentation as to whatever you were going to talk about. Crisis averted automatically. But no, what happens is you try to fight fire with fire, in a sense. And it is not, we've seen it. This is not the first, even if the narrative wasn't true, even if the narrative was overplayed, we've heard of many situations where persons have brought or have said that the Speaker of the House deals with opposition members unfairly. We've heard this. It has been in the public domain. If you want to eliminate that from the public domain, this is not the way you go about doing it. Or maybe he just doesn't care. I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't care. Let's say some people are stuck in their ways and they don't change. Maybe that's just what it is. So he comes back with aggression. He says, you're on thin ice. And let's see what happens or continues to happen from there.
Mr. Speaker, I stand on the ground that the people of Antigua and Barbuda elected me on.
Leader of the...
And again, remember I said that, you go and watch a basketball game and the referees have power. They are the adjudicators to assure that the game is played fairly. They show no favor to any one side. They're supposed to be fair down the middle, call a spade a spade. If this happens and it's wrong, they're supposed to say, okay, this is wrong. If this happens and it's right, they're supposed to say, hey, this is right. Right? They call it fair down the middle. And I think that is supposed to be what the Speaker of the House is supposed to be. But you ever seen a referee who has a bias against somebody and they show that bias? They show that bias. Maybe them and that person had some sort of situation in the past and they show that bias. And then you have to remind the referee that, hey, we didn't come to the game to watch you. We came to the game to watch the player. We don't need your biases. So again, Mr. Pringle is an elected member. He was put there by the people. On his side or not on his side doesn't matter. He has a job to do for the persons who elected him. And there must be some level of respect that's given to him in his position as well. Similarly, there must be some level of respect that's given to the Speaker. But again, as I said, I don't think the Speaker was being disrespectful. they was being disrespected in that situation. If that is, if you can't ask, how do I express displeasure with something? And we have seen instances in Parliament where persons are more aggressive than this. They're more disrespectful than this, and nothing comes of it. And that's the point of it. We've seen situations in Parliament where people are more disrespectful. People say some outlandish things in Parliament and they don't get chastised. I've never heard, at least I've never heard somebody saying something that utterly, I've never heard somebody who has said something that's utterly disrespect, with such disrespect and being told, hey, you're on thin ice. What Mr. Pringle said to me wasn't disrespectful. He had a concern. He felt like if he wasn't being treated fairly and he wanted to express that. And he's told, you're on thin ice.
Don't tell me about the thin ice.
So and let me, people, sometimes you have to watch the art of war, right? So you know what just happened here? Essentially, you took a weak party, because there's one person in the seat. You took a weak party and you made somebody a martyr. So now people who may not even have liked Mr. Pringle before favor him now. People who may be on your political side of the fence would look at the situation and like, I like Mr. Pringle. I like what he did in the House. He stood his ground. And I dare say that is that sort of for the people sort of behavior is why a lot of people like the Prime Minister. He's human. I think a lot of times you see persons in politics and they're unapproachable. They give you these cookie cutter kind of answers that don't really answer anything. And when somebody doesn't behave that way, people are like, yeah, this person is actually a real person. I don't think anybody else in that situation normally there would act any differently. And the fact that people say, yeah, I would have probably acted the same way that Mr. Pringle did in that situation. So I can relate to what he did. They made him relatable. They made him now a martyr. They made him more popular than he probably was, when you could have dismissed the situation just by a different approach. So let's go on and look at some more.
So crack the ice, Mr. Speaker, if that is what you want to do.
Leader of the opposition. If you do not refrain from attacking,
so hold on. So his response there now is, and let's look at things very carefully, right? The speaker says, you're on thin ice. And Mr. Pringle says, I'm here to work for the people. So don't tell me about thin ice. If that's the approach you want to take, then crack the ice. And then the speaker, if you continue to attack the Speaker of the House, but I mean, he's only reiterating what you said. Anyhow.
and if you proceed further, I will call on the House to decide out for the day. So be very careful. These are the politicians who have.
Mr. Speaker, I maintain my grounds, and you can do whatever you choose to do, but I am elected by the people, and I'm here to do the people's business.
You will persist in that?
Mr. Speaker, I stand my ground. I'm stating what the people are asking me questions to, and I think that is right in this honorable house for me to put to the people exactly what the situation is. And if you want to, as the speaker, use your judgment, and you can so do.
Leader of the opposition, you will apologize for the attack on the chair? No. You are in breach of so many understanding orders, I don't even want to read them. You have attacked not only a member, but you have attacked the house, and you will apologize immediately. All the champion Roddy.
So, you know, he in essence tells the leader of the opposition that he either needs to
Okay, what it is that you're
he needs to either apologize for his attack or leave. Yeah. You know, it's just weird, man. It's just weird. Guys, you know, it's just about after 10. It's 4 minutes after the hour of 10. I wanted to touch on some things in the newspapers today. I wanted, you know, let's just take a quick look at what's in the Daily Observer this morning, and then we can wrap things up. All right, ruckus in Parliament. You know, that's sort of like the story we touched on there. Country is 2 cases away from being COVID-free. State of emergency extended. Okay, let's look at the story. Opposition leader storms out of Parliament as tempers flare. Leader of the opposition in Parliament, Jamal Pringle, was not party to the hours-long session on Thursday after storming out of the lower house. I don't care what it is you all think. I don't care what it is you all think in here. We are all elected equally, he declared moments after Speaker of the House of Representatives Sir Gerald Watt QC asked him to apologize or leave for what the Speaker described as an attack on the chair. Was it? Yeah. Anyhow, I'm not going to go more into that. Let's move on to something else. Country is 2 cases away from being COVID-free. Barring any new developments, Antigua and Barbuda is well on its way to registering 0 active cases of COVID-19. Minister of Health, Marlon Joseph, confirmed in Parliament on Thursday that there are only 2 patients who have not yet passed the criteria to be released from hospital care. The World Health Organization, WHO, requires patients to register 2 consecutive negative COVID-19 tests before they can be considered to be free of the virus. According to Joseph, there are only 2 individuals being treated and only one of them still have the virus. He said the patient has been retested and the result of the specimen is likely to be received today after being dispatched to Trinidad. All right. Let's see here. Roadworks project set back by COVID-19. No surprise there. Man fined for beating friend. A man has been ordered by High Court Judge Anne-Marie Smith to pay his friend $3,000 after he was convicted of beating him about his body in 2017. It's a long time to get $3,000 worth. Anthony Gonzalez pleaded guilty on March 13 to unlawful wounding of his friend for many years. The incident occurred when the complainant became friends with the mother of Gonzalez's child. The woman reportedly became friends with the complainant in 2016 when she and the defendant were no longer together, and they developed an intimate relationship, which caused a rift between the 2 Guyanese men. Wanna catch feelings, boy? The complainant reported that on September 26, 2017, the woman invited him to her home, and while there, she informed him that the defendant would be coming to bring something for their daughter, so he had to leave. On his way out, he said that he was greeted by the defendant at the door, and they began to argue. The argument then escalated into a fight, during which the defendant beat the complainant about his body with a baton. Is this guy a police officer? What would he have gotten a baton from? The complainant, who was 24 years at the time, said he escaped from the fight and sought refuge at from the friend's house nearby, or at a friend's house nearby. However, when he got there, he realized he was bleeding from his head and could not move his shoulder, prompting an ambulance to be summoned. According to the woman's statement, she and the defendant had an on and off relationship, and the defendant disapproved of her friendship with the complainant. She claimed that she met the complainant at the house waiting that night and asked him to leave, but he still followed her inside. The defendant, however, stated that she and the woman were still in a relationship at the time, and she invited him over. But when he arrived, the complainant was at the house claiming that he was in a relationship with the woman as well, and that led to the skirmish. Was this guy an officer? I mean, who has a baton? Okay, this is an interesting story here. Man fined for stealing sex toys and alcohol. Okay. A 27-year-old man was ordered to pay $1,000 in the High Court yesterday for breaking into a restaurant and stealing several items, mainly sex toys and alcohol. Pause. What restaurant has sex toys in it? What is going on in this restaurant? On March 3rd, Eustace Lovell admitted to breaking into Cafe Chateau on Old Palm Road and stealing 29 items valued at $10,000. And he only paid $1,000 fine. I guess he had to return the items. I guess I don't know. On January 20th, 2019, the owner of the cafe secured the premises and left for about 2 hours. When he returned, he noticed one of the doors to the building had been pried open. Upon further inspection, he realized that a quantity of sex toys and alcoholic beverages that he had been storing for another business venture had been stolen. Okay, makes sense. He had another business venture, all right, makes sense now. He also realized that his DVR system and projector were missing. The businessman subsequently made a report to the police, but a few minutes prior, Lovell was caught red-handed by an officer who was driving in the vicinity of the Public Works Department in St. John's. The officer observed the defendant walking suspiciously while carrying a big knapsack and a box, and upon searching his person, the adult toys and the projector, plus 4 bottles of Cavalier rum, were discovered. Why are you walking to go steal? That's like an easy way to get caught. Dumb. Anyhow, efforts to restore safety rating for Regional Civil Aviation Authority. Okay, I'm not going to go too much into that. Surviving extraordinary times. Thousands more mass to aid virus fight. All right, guys, I want to just touch on one final story, then I'm going to end the show for today. Don't forget, later on today, I'm going to be speaking with Whitney Williams. We're going to be doing the first ever edition of Say the Word. We're going to be talking about song culture in Antigua and all of that. So I want you to tune in for that. So here's another story. This is the final story we're going to share on today. EMT killed at home by Kentucky police in a botched raid, family says. Take a listen to this.
Loved ones of Breonna Taylor grieving and outraged. The 26-year-old Louisville first responder shot 8 times and killed by police.
Just to know that she died like that in the comfort of her own home.
On March 13th, before 1 a.m., Louisville police say 3 officers executed a search warrant at Taylor's apartment, an address police believed was used by a suspected drug dealer to traffic narcotics. Police reports say officers Jonathan Mattingly, Brett Hankinson, and Miles Cosgrove, wearing plain clothes and no body cameras, announced themselves and forced entry.
The officers forced entry into the exterior door and were immediately met by gunfire.
But in a new wrongful death lawsuit against the officers, Taylor's family says they never announced themselves. The suit says Taylor and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker, startled from sleep, believed it was a break-in and called 911 for help. Walker, a licensed gun owner, then shot and wounded one of the officers. Officers returned fire, the suit says, blindly into the residence. Taylor's family attorneys say no drugs were found in the home.
And the tragedy of it is, it wasn't coronavirus that killed Breonna Taylor. It was police officers who were being reckless and irresponsible.
Walker is now facing charges for attempted murder of a police officer. His attorney says he's completely innocent. The officer's now on administrative reassignment, and while the case is under investigation, police aren't commenting. Meanwhile, Taylor's mother still absorbing her loss.
That's what I want people to know. She didn't deserve this.
Katie Beck, NBC News.
NBC News. All right, that was a story from NBC News. These things happen too often, man. Definitely, these things, they happen a little too often. I don't know how people are comfortable with these things happening so often. They happen just too often. They called 911. Obviously, if a person calls 911, they know they would have to believe it's not the police outside. They would have to think that they're being robbed. They call 911. They see people entering their house with guns. if you're a licensed firearm owner, you're going to open fire. I mean, what? And then on top of that, you're going to charge the guy with attempted murder. What attempted murderer is going to call 911 if he's going to murder somebody? Or it has to be that they thought that this was a burglary. If you're going to come into a person's house at that time, they're probably asleep, you're not dressed in any uniform. And is that even how it's supposed to be? If you're a police officer, aren't you supposed to, if you're going to conduct a raid, aren't you supposed to be in police gear, well identified, make an announcement, this is the police, blah, blah, blah. Oh boy. They didn't find anything in the house. The young lady was an EMS, an emergency medical services technician. Don't you, how do these things happen, and how do people not go to jail for these things? How do people not, why do people think it's okay for this to happen? Like, I was watching something on social media yesterday, and it popped up as a recommended video because I was getting a story on the young man who was jogging in a neighborhood that got killed by a retired police officer and his son. So this guy, this delivery guy, he's delivering something to a house. It's in a gated community. You cannot get into this community if you don't have the code to the gate. You can't. He's in a gated community. He drives into the community. Now, these gated communities, a lot of it is small roads, one way in, one way out, sort of kind of. It's a one way in, one way out thing. That's sort of kind of. It's one way in, one way out, small roads. He's driving a big truck. He gets into where he's going to make his delivery, and he has to find a way to turn around to get back up. And he made a little way up the road to turn around. And when he's coming back down, one of the homeowners in the gated community stops his vehicle, blocks him, and it's pretty much asking him, why are you here? What are you doing in here? I know the driver is a black guy. The guy from the gated community, you may quite realize, is white. So he blocks the guy in, and he pretty much has the guy detained for like a half hour. Not moving his vehicle. Says he's going to call the police. The police never actually show up. I don't know why. I don't know if he actually called the police. But why aren't people arrested for these sort of things? Like, why are you going to put my life in jeopardy because of your own biases? You know what I'm saying? Why? It's a gated community. You can't make a wrong turn into that community because you can't get in. You need the keys to get into that place. Why are people allowed to? And American police right now, they're so crazy that they shoot first and then ask questions later. They see a black guy, a white guy calls and said, hey, he's trespassing. Their first instinct is to shoot first. So a man would lose his life for doing his job. It's too much. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to get out of here, man. I'm going to go get some breakfast, man. It's been the Mass Breathers Morning Show. Thank you for all those who tuned in. As a matter of fact, before I do, I'm actually going to play a bit of the clip that I was just telling you about with the delivery guy. Okay? So I'm going to try to find a video here for you. I have the story pulled up. I'm going to see if I can find a video, and let's play a little bit of it for you. Yeah, let me see here. So this is the guy here.
Trying to leave, and I got the super neighbor over here blocking me in. So I'm going live. This is what I'm dealing with right now. This is what I'm dealing with. This is who I'm dealing with. Napoleon, move out the way.
My name's David
I don't care what your name is. Get out the way. I don't care. Move out the way, sir. You picked the wrong day. Move out the way. Can you tell him to hang up and move so I can leave? Thank you.
You know, and we're gonna go to the end of the video because I want you to sort of see the gate to get into the community.
Bob and weave around these trees to keep them tearing stuff down.
Right?
Unfortunately, it's not gonna happen because of how low these trees.
You know, I want you to see the gated community so you can see for yourself how impossible it is for somebody to make a wrong turn into that neighborhood. So let's listen.
By accident, but it was a low-hanging branch, and the customer was kind. He actually dragged the branch into his yard somewhere, and I don't even see it no more. But this is like the shop at the tractor in the trailer is just rubbing branches left and right. There's nothing I can do about it. Dodge the ones I can, but the ones I can't.
So he's going to come up to the gate to get out, which is the same gate to get in. And you tell me, how can somebody make a wrong turn into this neighborhood? They would need the gate key to come in and all of that.
The road I'm going out is the road I came in.
Look, it's coming up.
You guys probably can't hear it, but I'm rubbing trees left and right.
And my thing is, all right, so he's making his way out of the neighborhood now, right? But I want you guys to take a look at the gate to get in. And you tell me.
And this is the gate I had to come through. Where the genius asked me if I made a wrong turn somewhere. Like, how the hell you make a wrong turn into a gated community?
Look at that. You know, it's. I wonder if the person who. I wonder if it was a white delivery guy, if they would have that same energy. Anyhow, guys, I'm going to get out of here, man. It's been the Mass B This Morning show. Don't forget, later on today, we're going to be joined on the Say the Word show with the man Whitney Williams of Stonewall. I would like you to tune into that show in your numbers. You're going to get to see a side of, you know, Whitney that probably not a lot of people know. You know, we hear about Stonewall, but people don't know, you know, the history of the sound and all the things that they've done. So we're going to talk about that. All right, but until next time, peace.